So it's another episode of Devil in the Detail with Godfred and my good friend on the other side of the world, Susu. Susuji, what's up?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. I'm starting to plan some World Cup games. I've seen some World Cup games that have caught my fancy. So
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah. And yesterday I was at a World Cup draw party at the US head of missions residence, and I get the sense it's going to be an exciting World Cup because even with the draw, you could get the sense of anticipation and suspense. Ghana's draw came pretty late, so every ball that came out, everybody was like Ghana. Everybody wanted Group B. Everybody was like Group D. But in the end,
Mhm.
Ghana did end up in a group that some consider quite tricky, but others also think it's one that is manageable. Ghana ended up in Group L, that is the large group. And just quick opening thoughts. So let's focus on the Ghana group, then we'll go to the others. So um, England, Croatia, Ghana, Panama. Ghana's first game against Panama. And I'm saying that is going to be the most difficult game that the Black Stars of Ghana will play. And a lot of people tweeted at me and were like, come on, it's the team with the smallest profile. But the thing for me with Panama is this. They haven't beaten a lot of heavyweights in qualification. But here's the thing. Panama, since for the past 4 years, has the profile of a team that has improved significantly and is moving up. If you look at Panama were Gold Cup finalists in 2023.
I think it was the CONCACAF Nations League rather.
Yes, they were
Yes.
they were
Yes. They beat the US in the
in
semi-final.
the semifinals. Then
Yeah. If
they
you
were
remember, that's when the guy scored the goal and went to
went
hug
to Thierry
Henri
Henry.
after.
Yes,
Yeah.
and they're a very difficult team to break down. Start of the year, they weren't that good, but I think if you look at their results since March, coming down to December, they've been a pretty decent outfit. And the reason why I say they'll be a hard team to beat is the first game of the World Cup. There's always nerves. Two, Ghana is pretty familiar with England. Ghana is pretty familiar with Croatia and what they do. It's pretty easy to get yourself worked up for a game against England. There's a lot at stake. It's pretty easy to get yourself worked up for a game against Croatia. They've been perhaps one of the three best World Cup teams of the past
I mean,
12
they
years.
finished second and finished third. They
Yeah,
are
for
the
the
most
past 12
consistent,
years. Yeah.
aside France, they are the most consistent. Yeah.
So I look at that Panama game and I say, this is our most difficult game because it is our most winnable game. It is our most winnable game. But I say,
Without a doubt.
yeah, Ghana's lack of familiarity with the process of Panama, with the players of Panama. You could watch a few hours of tape and prepare. But if you watch, Ghana doesn't need that. The players don't need that when it comes to Croatia. They know them. They've got several hours of recall from watching them, from playing with them. Same for England, from watching them, from playing with them at different levels of different tournaments. But Panama is completely offside. You've not met their players anywhere. You don't know how they think. Their systems are different. So I think it's our most winnable game, but our most difficult. I don't know what you think.
I I agree with you to a certain extent because I think for the Black Stars, what I believe I believe we play better when we are the underdog.
Mm,
That's another thing. We are
yeah.
much better when we are the underdog. And against Panama, Panama would be very okay being the underdog against us. That doesn't suit us. Because if we have to break them down, when I look at our players and their skill sets, our players are much better when there's a lot of space, ball carriers, counter-attacking players, players with a lot of pace, you know. You look at Inaki Williams, strong runner. You look at Kudu, strong carrier of the ball. You look at Semenyo, strong carrier of the ball. We don't have our players are not, even though they are good with their ball control, their skill
Yeah.
sets lend themselves more to counter-attacking football than kind of, you know, you're facing a low block and you have to break them down. I don't know if you understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Yeah, we don't have those kind of lock pickers in our team. Let me put it that way.
Hmm.
We're a very open space transition team. Our team has tried a lot of transition specialists, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But in terms of lock picking type players, I don't think we have too many of those in their team. And Panama will be very happy to sit back. I look at the players Panama have. If Panama come and decide they want to play a game of football with us, we'll win 4-0.
Yeah. But they won't, and they never
And
do.
but yeah, they will never, but exactly the point, they will never do. So for me, you're right. I agree with you that Panama, to be a difficult game, we should win that game. If we can't win that game, we have no business being in the next round of the World Cup.
And it is our first
That's
game. And
it's
then
as simple as that.
of course, outside of Panama, and for those of you who are watching, you can check out what Panama has been up to. Like I said, don't look at the qualifiers. If you look at the qualifiers, you're going to say, "Oh, they beat
I think
Ghana."
they were a bit underwhelming. I
Yeah,
was looking at they looked a bit underwhelming, but their tournament performances show
yeah. Which is what I was
they're
going.
a good tournament team.
Yeah, that in the tournaments that they have played, they do show up when they play in tournaments. And you can never make up the sum of a team from qualifications because you can only beat what is in front of you, right? But outside of that, of course, there's the glamour fixture. Let's talk about the big one. Everybody will be looking forward to that. Last time Ghana played England and at senior level was in 2011, and Di Carroll scored as Samoa equalized at the death Wembley Stadium.
That's one of his best goals for the Black Stars,
Yeah,
actually. It's a
but
very good one.
it's an England team that is on the up and up, perhaps at its strongest, as strong as it has ever been in a while. Strength in depth, star quality, and a coach who's very pragmatic with what he wants to do with the team. Also very technically savvy, solid reputation worldwide, um, leading England into a World Cup where England, again, as always, will say it is coming home. And against the country that's, uh, you know, they used to rule a few centuries ago.
Decades ago. Decades. It's not even been now. It's not been a century yet.
You know, there's a lot at stake for Ghana, but I guess that will be for us the marquee fixture. I call it the reparations derby, the colonial derby. And I think Ghana would not need motivation for that game. And it's the kind of game where a lot of people tend to underestimate Ghana. And it's the kind of game where I think Ghana always will show up. If you look at Ghana's performances at the World Cup, even in the games that they have lost against the so-called super teams, they have not played badly. Now, there's no reward at the World Cup for not playing badly, but all I'm saying is it's a building step to say Ghana will not show up against England to play afraid. In fact, I have a feeling this is a Ghana Black Stars team that will show up determined to go boot for boot with England and should have the capacity to go boot for boot with England. For you and others, the biggest drawback might be just how savvy Otto Addo is technically to manage a game of wits against somebody as nuanced around the game as Tuchel. Your take.
As my good friend coach call him Tommy Tactics. So I mean, look, the guy he's a genius of football. Let's be honest. He knows how to set up a team, make them compact, difficult to break down. But again, it's the reverse of the Panama situation. In this situation, we are Panama,
Yeah,
where England would not want a team that they have to pick the lock. And this is the thing we have to talk about. Tournaments are so different because every game matters so much more. There's a lot more caution. Even if you are the team that needs to win, you are still a bit cautious because if you are caught on the break, that 1-0 loss is more disastrous than if it's a league, where you can push forward. You have 37 other games to make up for.
yeah,
Because a bad result in your first game and your tournament could be over. For us, I believe that if you even look at the way the tournament is set up, just think about the group as a bigger picture. If we don't win the first game, cannot see a path for qualification. But if we win the first game, I almost can guarantee we'll qualify.
yeah,
But let's not get into that. We'll talk about that when we wrap everything up. So we go into that game now on the opposite side where we don't have to be protagonists. We don't have to play an open game. We can sit back and look for the space, use the pace of our players to push the ball and make a difference in the final third. So it's not a game England will enjoy. It's not a game they'll be excited for. And I feel England, this group might be bad for them in the sense that they've played Croatia and Panama the 2018 World Cup.
yeah.
So there might be that complacency that, oh, Panama, we beat them the last time. It was an easy game. This is
Very.
another easy game. Whereas Panama have improved. They could surprise them. And what we actually don't need in the group is for Panama to win a game. The
Yes.
reason I say that is that it complicates it and gives the other teams extra motivation. So when I look at the England game, I don't expect us to win the game. I expect us to lose the game. Yeah, that it's rather Croatia, I feel are more beatable, personally.
Hmm.
So when I look at the England game, I feel like if we have our 3 points going into the Croatia game, we are still in a good position. Just that for the England game, I would say for me, that's a free hit. The way I look at the group is a free hit because third place teams also qualify. So
Yeah.
4 points and
It's
a
very true.
respectable goal difference will put us in a good position to qualify. But for me, I'll take the England game as a free hit. I think it's a nice occasion. We're playing one of the best teams in the world, but I don't expect us to do much in that game. I expect it to be a very difficult watch for Ghanaians because there won't be a lot of attacking just because of the quality England has. Because personally, player for player, I don't think there's 4 national teams better than England. That's my personal opinion.
Currently,
Player for player.
I share that
Yeah.
opinion. I think if you
And
look
then when
at
you
the
look at
current makeup of the team, they do. I don't see four national teams with better quality than they have.
exactly, and then in terms of the quality of their coach and what he and the way he knows, understands, and coaches the game, it just makes it a very difficult game. And Otoado will have to coach the game of his life, and our players will have to play some of the best football they've played. We need a lot to go well to beat England, in my opinion. Whereas the other games, we don't need as much to go right. That's just how I see it. So I'll take that as a free hit personally.
I'm a bit surprised you've gone that direction because honestly, I think Croatia are a team that are evolving. This is not the Croatia of, the last World Cup or the team that went to the final. They're a team that is slowly going through rebirth, but they have the firm guiding hands of Zlatko Dalic. And you can't also take away the experience that they will bring, in spite of
But
the fact that they are going through those transitions.
but that's the thing. A lot of the guys who have gone to the last 2 World Cups semi-finals are not there anymore. Quite a few of them are no longer with the team. When you look at the team now, the guys who and I was trying to look at the team.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like Croatia maybe 2018 where you had Mandzukic, Kovacic, Modric, Brozovic. There was a bit more glamour in that team. But when I look at this team now, I think the next generation of Croatian players, with all due respect, is not as good as the last.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a lot of guys from the older generation still hanging on who are still relied upon to put some quality there. Because let's be honest, if Croatia had a lot of young players coming up, I don't think Ivan Perisic would be in the squad. For example, it's his age and the level he's playing at. I don't think Perisic is the player he was 6 years ago or 8 years ago. Perisic has had a long, mind you, Perisic played under Klopp in Dortmund. That's
Yeah.
how long Perisic has been around. But this is a player who's still relied upon for the national team. You have
No,
a
because
40-year-old
because
Luka,
because he does do a job for the national team.
but
Let's not
that's my
underestimate
point.
that. He does do a
I'm not
very good job for
underestimating
the
that.
national
But
team.
my thing is, when I look at Croatia, right, and I look at the Black Stars, in terms of let me put it this way, when I look at England and I look at the Black Stars, I can't think of more than maybe 2 players in our team who would even have, they will be fighting for one starting spot. I think maybe Kudus and Semenyo will be fighting for the left wing position in England because
Yeah.
that's their weakest position, right? But I look at the Croatia team, I feel like quite a few of our players would get into the starting lineup comparatively. That's the first thing. And also, when I look at the age of the players and they're good players in their team.
Yeah.
Side Vardio, right? When you look at the top players Croatia has, he's the only one in his 20s. Because the elite players they have is Luka Modric, Kovacic, and to a lesser extent, Perisic. So let's say there's
Don't ignore Josko Vadio.
that's what I'm saying. Vardio is the only player in his 20s,
Mm-hmm.
right? The rest of them are in their 30s. Modric is in his 40s.
Yes.
So I look at that team, a long season. Will Modric even have the physical capacity by that time at his age?
Pastor, so
Kovacic,
you've been watching Luka Modric the whole
been
of this season,
watching
and
it,
you've been
and
saying
I'm
he's
saying,
AC Milan's best player. The best team in the Italian
let
Serie
me
A at the
finish.
moment,
And I
he
saw
is
him,
their best
and
player, and you are
and
thinking the World
he's
Cup he will
already
not have the
tired.
energy. What are you
So I'm
saying?
and Relax, and he's already tired. I watched him last week. I could see he was tired. I could see that
Modric
he
told you he
was
was
tired.
tired.
Oh, I see when a player is tired. Do you get what I'm saying? And that's my thing. It's not that I don't respect Luka Modric's quality. It's not that I don't think he can't have a good game. But when I look at what Croatia are going to have to rely on, the players they are relying on, their age, and the guys who are coming up, I'm not sure about them. For me, I think right now Croatia are very overrated because everyone is looking at a team that in their heads is like, oh, Croatia were second and third at the last two World Cups. So they are a top team. But I don't think that this is the same Croatia. If you get what I feel
I
like they
get
are
you.
now.
I get you. But I'm saying I don't think people are overrating them. I think people are respectful of Croatia and what they've been able
No,
to do.
I
No,
think it's
you see,
becoming overrating.
no. Because
Because
I
when
hear
you talk
you.
to people, they are
Uh-huh.
talking like Croatia will beat us 3-0. That's how
No,
people
but you
are
see, it
sounding.
is not. It will not be far-fetched. I hear you on the aging, and we've spoken about the fact that this is a team that is in transition. But you've got to respect tournament know-how, and it's something that we've seen play out at a lot of tournaments. There's a reason why Didier Deschamps went out to bring N'Golo Kante back,
Yeah,
because a lot of the kids who have the talent and the energy simply didn't have the know-how to get a job done. You
I
know,
don't disagree.
and so when you have players who know how to manage games, okay, you guys are in their 34s, 35s, okay, they can play 60 minutes to get you a 2-0 or a 2-1, and the youngins can come in and manage the game to the end. What I am afraid of when it comes to Croatia is one, the combined group experience and tournament know-how, which is incredible. Two, the consistency of that know-how. Three, the fact that, yes, we have a lot of players who might get in there, but Croatia breeds stars. There are a lot of players who we might not have looked at clearly and said,
They
oh,
are coming up.
these are breakthrough players, but will show up at the World Cup and you will suddenly ask yourself, who this kid is a kid who could be starting in any of the top teams in the world at a World Cup. And the way they blood their players in makes it look like, makes it easier for these kids to
No,
come in and
they have
have
a top football infrastructure. I don't
exactly.
disagree.
And the last bit is this. They are one of the most tactically competent teams under Zlatko Dalic. If and it's something that I think we don't talk about enough. People tend to think, oh, it's always been about the core of star players they've had or that golden generation. But they've also been a very tactically savvy team. If you look at some of the games that they've played over the past two World Cups, it's not just been a team that is heavily reliant on its talent. It's a team that goes through a lot of tactical structuring, tactical formations in the run-up of a game. And that is something that I fear because, again, I said up and I say, if Zlatko Dalic flips things on the pitch, will we be able to recognize it and adjust? And there will be a lot of that with this team, even perhaps more than we do with England. England, Tuchel, like you're saying, is a genius of the game. He likes to make those adjustments, but doesn't go too far out of his way. But what I've realized with Croatia is this. They're a team that know how to adapt. And that experience that they have in their core makes it very easy for them to make those adaptations when the need brings itself. So I don't think it's, again, a glamour fixture. I don't think they have the quality, you are right, of England. But I look at Croatia and I'm super wary because old they might be, but as the saying goes, beware the old man in the business of war. There's a reason
I'll
why the
also
old man is an old man in war.
what I'll add is an advantage they have is again they're a team that are not afraid to play the underdog if they have to. If they score one goal, they will change the dynamic of the game to suit the game states. They are not a team that feels like we need to constantly attack. So you are right, they are more tactical. But like I said, because I feel like they themselves see them, there's that expectation of them if they are going into a game against Ghana that they have to win. And depending on the dynamics of the group by that time, they might be in a situation where they need a win more than us, where they are pushing for it. So I respect Croatia that on the odds, let me put it this way. When I think about the England game, I would give England an 80% win chance against us.
Okay.
When I look at Croatia, it's 60-55%, if that makes sense.
Okay, it does.
I'm just not, I feel like it's closer to a coin toss than what people want to give it. credit for. That's how I feel about the Croatia game. Because again, like I said, even these tactical things you're talking about, all very well and true. But the younger guys, I don't know how much they can adapt to this because at the Euros, that tactical know-how didn't help Croatia. They considered two late goals against Albania and Italy, and that's why they went out. They couldn't win a game. They drew 2-2 against Albania and 1-1 against Italy. Both times they conceded in added time. That tactical know-how, that game management, it didn't show in the last Euros. So for me, I just feel like we've met Croatia at the right time in the sense that they're in a transition.
Yeah.
That this is a great football nation in terms of their infrastructure, the players they produce, they will be back. But I just feel like this tournament is at an odd moment because you are still relying on the Luka Modric's and core of the world. But you need to look at the other guys and give them their chance. I don't know if those guys will be given their chance. So for me, I just feel like right now, this is the time to play Croatia. If it was maybe in 2 years, I think they'll be much better. But as we speak, I believe this is the best time because when you're in a situation like that where you have some guys who are still older, still holding on, there's still that pressure that, okay, you should play these guys. Because, like you said, for all we know, there might be a winger there who might be more suited to some of the games than Perisic. But they are likely to start him because of his profile, because of who he is, and because of what he has done. And we see that with a lot of national teams. I think national teams, they hold on to people a lot longer than club teams. It's just the nature of
the nature of it,
the nature of it. So I feel like we are looking at a team that we don't, and granted, those guys might just, and that's the thing about older players. They can have some games where they look 28 again. And when they have those games, they look 28 again, there's nothing you can do. You will lose those games because that is the amalgamation of their whole careers. They will give it to you in that experienced body and you lose the game. So they are very dangerous, but I still feel like, it's a game I look at. I don't look at it with fear. The England game, there's a bit of fear. It's not like I don't think we can win. We can't win the game. Like we can definitely win any game. I'm not afraid, but it's a game that if we lost heavily against England, it would be easier for me to take down Croatia. Personally, I just believe that Croatia, we can get a result. Honestly, the way I see this group, that's why I was come to the nature of the way the group will play out. Ideal situation, we beat Panama. Like I said, England is a free hit.
Goals will matter. So we better beat Panama heavily.
Yeah, exactly. So, like I said, England is a free hit. So whatever results may come, may come. And I think we can get a draw against Croatia. We get our 4 points. We're in a very good situation. And we go to the next round. Who we meet in the next round is another issue, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So for me, beating Panama is the most important thing. We get that on the board. Even 3 points can be enough, but you don't want to risk that game, of course, because 3 points can be a difficult one. But for me, you beat Panama, England is England, whatever happens, I don't care. They are one of the, the favorites for the tournament. So no shame in losing to them. And I guess Croatia, we end their cycle, in my opinion.
So maybe we can do what we did to the Czech Republic in 2006, because from the way you talk about it, it brings back memories of that Czech Republic team, a once great team that was going through a transition and met Ghana that was at its a Ghana team that was emerging onto the world stage, and Ghana puts them in the dustbin and they haven't recovered since. I don't think the Czech Republic has come anywhere close to
no. And that's the thing.
What that team was prior to the 2006 World Cup.
And when you're a small country like Croatia, it can be difficult with all due respect. This is a country of 6 million people, 8 million people, if at all. We're a country of 32 million people. It's a lot easier for us to find talented footballers than them. Look at Uruguay. Uruguay was one of the great teams of the 20th century, but it's been quite difficult recently. It's a country of 3 million. There's only so many people you can get from only so many footballers you can get from 3 million. So it can be difficult. So maybe that's also why we see Modric, Perisic, and Co still around, because maybe they just can't find new guys to replace them. And that can happen when you're a small country. So for me, I just feel like Croatia, we are meeting them at the right time. I think the 2022 and 2018 teams, the fire that led those teams, we are looking at the embers. So I think a strong gust of wind can put them out.
All right, then. So that's all for the Ghana group. We're all expecting Ghana to qualify. You can tell us what you think about the Ghana group in the comment section. And also don't forget to hit the subscribe button, the like button, everything is all good. Let's pick and choose some of the groups that we like, that we think will be interesting. I think all the games will be good, but some of the groups look pretty easy. Some of them look pretty balanced.
I think with 48 teams, it's difficult to find a hard group.
Yeah, and
You
that's the
can
thing I
find a
hate.
balanced group.
That's the thing I hate about the expanded version because I was looking at, some of the since we started doing expanded tournament versions, yeah, we get a lot more games and all. But I watched the Under 17 World Cup where New Caledonia lost what, 8, 9, 10 to
Yeah,
Morocco.
they were getting beaten pretty badly.
Yes, and I'm saying there's no way a team should qualify for a World Cup at any level and get beat by 10 goals. Doesn't make sense. Because they're never going to be good enough. It was just the expanded version. But well, let's take some of the groups. I'm looking
But,
at that group
well,
I.
if we go into a bit of the politics and stuff, I can say the same about a lot of European qualification.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, the breakup of the USSR and Yugoslavia has been helpful to goal records. Let me put it that way.
yes. Cristiano Ronaldo has benefited more than
Even,
anybody else. He has
even
benefited. Let's
Ronaldo,
say he has
Lukaku as well.
benefited. He has benefited more
Lukaku
than
as
anybody.
well. Memphis Depay. A few guys. You think if Cruyff got to play Liechtenstein, he wouldn't have Eusebio and co.
Let's move to. I'm looking at Group I. You can tell me what your other groups are, but I'm looking at that
Is that
France,
the
Senegal,
France-Senegal group?
Iraq, Bolivia, Suriname will enter that equation, and
Yeah,
then there
it's
is Norway as well. And in that group, Susu, France Senegal open it up. It's a rematch of the 2002 World Cup opening game where France, as defending champions, were upset by Senegal. Senegal, of course, one of the strongest African teams. France, a team with a lot of Senegalese heritage. So
yeah.
again, it's going to be another reparations and colonial derby. I'm sure Senegal will not struggle to be worked up for that. But I said that game might end up being a lot more evenly balanced than people will see because on paper, quality for quality, Senegal have everything that France has in
Yeah.
basically every single position. So
Yeah.
it will be maybe bar striking, where Kylian Mbappe, of course, is perhaps the best forward player in world football as we speak right now.
The other guy in the group will have something to say about that.
Yeah, I'm just getting to that because Norway are in there. But here's the thing I'm saying, and I was telling somebody this yesterday, so I think Norway might end up not even getting. Well, Iraq, Bolivia, and Suriname are there. So Erling Haaland tends to show up against those
Do you
big teams.
remember the
But
under
I was
20
saying,
World Cup?
hold on for me. Norway might have blown us away in qualification, but they show up, and I don't think Norway will do well in this group. I
Mm.
seriously think Norway does not do well in this group. I have looked at their squad. Solbakken has done an incredible job putting them together. But I'm favoring France, Senegal. Again, third best place teams get to qualify, so Norway could be one of those teams. But I just feel tournament jitters gets in the way. I just feel tournament jitters gets in the way for Norway. That's me. So that's the group I am figuring. I am
I
looking at.
wanted
It will be
to,
pretty
I wanted
interesting.
to,
I don't know where you go.
no, I want to talk about that Norway group. Do you remember the under 20 World Cup Erling Haaland made his
Yes,
name?
yeah, yeah, yeah. When he scored
Do you remember?
all those goals.
Remember do you also remember he didn't score in any other game? He scored in one game that whole tournament.
Yes,
Do you remember?
yes.
And he used that to become
To
top
win the
scorer
whole
and break
team.
the tournament record. That game is what's coming with Bolivia, Suriname, and Iraq.
But I don't think Bolivia are a team that Erling Haaland will put 4 goals past.
Actually, I think you put six. Bolivia, you see, remember, Bolivia are only good when they can play home and away.
Yes,
Remember, you forgot
yes,
Bolivia. I don't think Bolivia have won an away game for years.
yes, they
It's been
haven't.
years.
True,
Yeah.
true.
So I'm not even sure Bolivia beat Iraq, frankly speaking.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying that if Iraq comes, Iraq is a very savvy tournament team.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Iraq, you see, and those are the things that I think sometimes I love. Those are the things I love about the World Cup. The fact that it brings into focus some of the teams from certain confederations that we don't monitor as well. We only hear of them during qualifications. But if you watch the Arab Cup and some of the other tournaments that happen there, look, Iraq are nobody's fancies. They are the kind of team that will hold you to a 0-0 draw, or if you are not careful, put one goal past you quietly, and you ask yourself, where did they come
And they will
from?
shut up shop because
You
they are
ask
one of the
yourself, where did
better
they come from?
Asian teams.
Yeah, you ask yourself, where did they come from? So I'm looking at Norway suspiciously in that group. But what other group are you looking at?
You know, the group I think will be very interesting.
Which one?
I think Group K.
That's Portugal, Congo D, and New Caledonia is the one that everybody use for the record if they do make it, but I don't
Oh,
think
they,
they
they
will make it.
won't. They will, it will be Congo or
Jamaica,
Jamaica. It will be
Uzbekistan,
Congo or
and
Jamaica.
Colombia. That's a tough group. Tell me about Group K. What's intriguing about it for you?
You know, we always hear about this Ronaldo Messi stuff, right?
Yeah.
We can't escape it. I hope that those two old men, we don't see them at the next World Cup. I hope one of them he's threatening. I know him, he's threatening, but when I look at that group, like you were saying, the breakup of the Soviet Union has helped one man, and we have a Soviet remnant in that group. So I look at that group and I think that, and with Portugal, with all this talk, I think that there's a lot of pressure on them. The reason being, their talisman has also said some things. I think the way the tournament has been built up, and considering that Messi won it last time, I think there's this invisible pressure. He's not going to say there's pressure on him, but there's pressure on Ronaldo to win this tournament.
Yeah.
Because it's like your great rival has won one. Where is your World Cup? That's the conversation that we're having now. So it's very interesting to see, if we end up in a situation like the last World Cup where Ronaldo is eventually dropped, how does he start? How do Portugal look? And how do they play out? So I'll be watching Portugal very keenly because they're a very good team.
Yeah.
So that storyline will be very interesting. I think Argentina is still a contender just to go on the other side, but I don't think their story is as interesting because Messi has won one. Like, what's the interest in his story? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for me, I'm not too sure. But I also like the groups the hosts have gotten. I think the hosts have gotten quite favorable draws. The hosts all should be able to qualify. I don't think there's any group where the hosts look at and like, okay, we can't qualify. So I think that they always say that's good for the tournament, right? You want the host to do well, to keep up interest in the tournament, to generate ticket sales and all of that. So I'm excited for that at least. But yeah, like you said, the groups just are not, what's the word? They are not compelling enough just because the strength is spread out very evenly.
Yeah.
The good teams are all far away from each other. I think there's maybe 2 or 3 groups with 2 good teams. I think the Morocco-Brazil group
is tight.
That's probably the most interesting group. But then I also feel like when you have a team like Haiti in there who are just so unfancy, it makes it, less exciting because everyone's like, oh, well, these guys, everyone should be beating them. If maybe we had ended up in that group, for example, thank God we didn't, of course, but if we had ended up in that group where it's like, you can't look at anyone you can beat, obviously, because Morocco are there, we can't end up in that group. But just, as a thought experiment, if we had ended up in that group, that would have been an exciting group because it's like, wow, there's no easy game in this group. But because it's like almost every group, it looks like there's just one game that looks a bit easy. I think it makes it a bit, or not, let me put it this way, at least for the big teams, there's one game that you feel like they can win. For the Group B, for example, I don't think there's any easy games in that group just because there's no standout.
Even Group A, I think Group A also has a lot of balance. Mexico, South Africa,
exactly.
South Korea, Denmark, Northern Macedonia, Czechia, Ireland. It's a very evenly
Exactly.
balanced.
It's the type of group that whoever wins the group, there can't be a surprise winner because all of them are capable of winning the group. Whereas if you look at most of the other groups, there's a clear team that should be winning the group.
Well, really,
so I like those.
Let me ask you this. Let's test this. I'm looking at Group E. Let's Germany, Curacao, Ivory Coast, Ecuador. Curacao, of course, being the newbies in there, and everybody I say, oh, okay, they are the ones who are getting hammered. But Germany haven't been the best version of Germany for a while.
That is true. But on reputation,
Ivory Coast always tend to disappoint
You
at,
don't know.
at the World Cup, but they have
Yeah.
quality. Ecuador is one of
Very
the
good
rising
team.
powers of football at the moment.
Yeah.
I think that group is not a group where you can easily say, oh, Germany wins the group.
No, I'm saying that on reputation, of
Yeah,
course.
I know. But I'm just
Yeah, what
bringing
I
it,
mean
I'm
is
just
that,
highlighting that group.
oh,
That
no, no, no.
Germany,
When it
Ecuador,
comes to
Ivory
in
Coast, Curacao
practice,
could spring up, some surprises. And Ecuador is one of
if
those teams people need to watch. It's littered with talent.
yeah, even Group H, if we are talking about really like stylistically, Bielsa ball versus the Spanish possession, it might
Oh,
not be as easy a matchup as you would think.
yeah.
They could easily lose to Uruguay and finish second and end up with a very difficult round of 32 game. That's very possible. So, but I'm just saying that there's no like because of the expansion, you haven't there's no two favorites in a group where like hey, someone could be going because if you remember we had the Spain, was it Costa Rica, Germany, and Japan? Was it
Yeah.
last World Cup? And Germany didn't get out of the group.
Hmm.
And even there was even I remember because of the live scores, there was even a moment where Costa Rica and Japan were going
We're
through,
going through.
and Spain and Germany were going out. It's going to be a lot more difficult for something like that to happen at this World Cup. It can happen because one bad game puts you in a difficult situation. But the third place teams also reduces the jeopardy a bit. So
All
it
right.
makes it tough. But
So time to wrap this up, and we must ask ourselves the big question. Let's put ourselves out there. I don't see anybody out of the eight who have won it before winning it. I don't think a new World Cup winner is going to emerge. I think the big eight who have won it, if some of them are still trying to qualify, a team like Italy is still trying to get in. But the eight nations that have won the World Cup will still be amongst the favorites. I don't know how Brazil these days still gets counted amongst favorites for the World
let's
Cup. They
make it
haven't been
five
good.
because I
I'm
would
keeping it
include
open.
Brazil. I'm saying it's five. Actually, more like four.
So
Four, and I'll add Portugal. I'll add
why are
Portugal.
you adding Portugal? Portugal will not
No,
come close to winning in this World Cup.
no, I think Portugal are a very good team. I actually respect them. It's not because of Ronaldo or anything. I think it's a very solid team in many different ways. It's not
With
about Cristiano.
Roberto Martinez overthinking things, Roberto Martinez should be the one wearing the shirt that I'm wearing.
Let me think. No,
You see,
I
this is
think
what my shirt says. See?
uh, I would say that for me, I look at Portugal, France, England, Argentina, and Spain
Mhm.
as the five favorites. Those are the teams. And I'll put Brazil and the other winners, past winners in the tier below.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think right now Brazil, as much as I love Brazil, that's my second team at every World Cup. Ghana, then
I,
Brazil, but
let me
yeah,
just say, look, it's hard to look beyond the Albi Celeste, and it's strange to say this, but the thing about the World Cup also is you win it and you show up, you don't take care, you go home in the first round. I don't see that happening, of course, with the way the groups have played out. But Argentina have just so much quality, and they are able to always put together a team that are competent. So I do agree with you. I think Spain also will be favorites for this. I don't see beyond those two, with England being a very dark horse because of Tuchel
mm,
being there. So let's wait. Next year, World Cup is
but,
coming. Some are coming to you, and some
yeah.
of us are also going to other places. But either way, we are going to enjoy
But
ourselves.
my dream will be Neymar comes and wins the World Cup. That's my dream. My dream is Neymar wins the World Cup.
Neymar's dream is just for the season to end so he can have surgery. Charles, it's been good hanging with you.
Neymar is bringing number 6 home. He's bringing number